Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you guys this morning. But before we jump into that, please smash a like on the video, give it the thumbs up, and please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. So on the show this morning, we're going to be running through some of the things Erik ten Hag said in his press conference yesterday ahead of the Fulham game this afternoon. Obviously, he talked about the Rashford situation, about that party that he went to after the Manchester derby defeat. We'll also be talking about a Shot Club who apparently are in for Kobbie Mainoo. And is Kobbie Mainoo going to make a debut today? I think he will. I think he'll start today. I'll be gutted if he doesn't start today. I will. I really, really will. If we see a midfield of Scott McTominay and Christian Eriksen, it's just not going to be a good start to the weekend, is it? But anyway, we've got lots to get into on the show today. As always, do get involved in the comment section, get involved in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show. So let's talk a little bit about the game, because obviously we play football in less than 4 hours. In less than 4 hours, we'll kick off against Fulham. And I want you guys to answer me this. Do you think Erik ten Hag's job is on the line if he loses this game today? We've had stories all week saying that apparently he's on thin ice at Manchester United. Some newspapers and outlets even saying that Zinedine Zidane and the Sporting Lisbon manager had been contacted. Whether that's true or not, we'll have to wait and see. But do you think that if Erik ten Hag was to lose against Fulham today, that would be the final straw? Let me know what your thoughts are. I've said this, I'll give you my opinion. Obviously, I want you guys to let me know yours. I'll read out everything you say, so get in the comment section, get in the live chat. But from my perspective, I think if he loses today and then loses against Copenhagen away on Tuesday or Wednesday next week, I think he probably will be let go of. I don't want that to happen, but I would imagine that will happen, because the thing that we have to remember is, right, it looks like this Sir Jim Ratcliffe deal is on the brink of being announced, okay? I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe maybe has a manager in mind that he wants. This is just my opinion, by the way. Obviously, this is a place for opinions. I haven't got this from anywhere. But if we were to lose today and lose against Fulham, that would be, lose against Fulham and lose against Copenhagen, that would be 4 losses in a row. Hopefully we win. Hopefully we win today. Hopefully we beat Copenhagen. Things will look way more positive then, wouldn't it? If we win today, right, obviously results, we're the first team to play this weekend, so it could be different by the end of the day. But if we were to win our match now, we'd go up to 6th place in the Premier League. I mean, that's not terrible, is it? 6th place. Obviously, if we were to then win our Champions League game, we should go second behind Bayern. So things can change very, very quickly. But the most important thing here, which is going to sound very obvious, is that we win. In the Champions League group, if we beat Copenhagen on Tuesday, I think it is, we will go to second with 6 points. I would imagine that Bayern will beat Galatasaray. Let's hope that happens. We would be on 6 points. Galatasaray would be on 4. Copenhagen would be on 1. And Bayern would be on 12. So we'd just have to go and beat either Bayern at home or Galatasaray away, or at least not lose to Galatasaray, and we'd get through that group. So it is within our grasp. And I think the reason why I say these 2 games are a make or break for Ten Hag is because I think they are winnable matches. They should be winnable matches. I know that we think that most of these players aren't good enough, but Fulham, we haven't lost to Fulham, I think, in 10 years. I saw someone say yesterday, 10 years we haven't lost to Fulham in the Premier League. When you look at their squad compared to ours, you can't deny that they've got a lesser squad than us. They've got people like Willian, he's way past it. And I know they've got a couple of good players. They've got João Paulinho. They lost Mitrovic. They didn't replace him. They're not the same squad that they were last year. They lost a few of their better players. But let me know what you guys think. Is this make or break for Erik ten Hag today? Somebody says Erik ten Hag will stay till December. Somebody else says it will be a draw. Somebody says, Craig says it will be 2-0 to Fulham. Irvin says, do we know what the starting 11 is yet? No, we don't know what the starting 11 is yet. We know that obviously Casemiro is injured. We know that Lindelof is also sick, so Lindelof didn't travel. I would imagine it will be something like this today. I think obviously we'll have Onana in goal. I would go with Dalot at left back. I'd go with Varane and Maguire as the 2 centre-backs. I'd go with Wan-Bissaka at right back. I would have a midfield of Amrabat and Kobbie Mainoo. I'd have Fernandes at centre attacking midfielder, Rashford on the left, Højlund as the striker, and I would go with Mason Mount today on the right. I don't think Anthony offered much in any of the games he really plays, and I would give him a chance, or even Pellistri, somebody, or even Garnacho. Put Rashford on the right and Garnacho on the left. I just think that we have lots of other options there. And we need to rotate a bit. Let's see what people are saying in the chat this morning. Let's have a look what we got. Somebody says, I think the players are mad about the Rashford situation. Yeah, we'll talk about Rashford in a minute. It is pretty crazy, that situation. Jamil says, hey, mate, I was watching from when you had less than 1,000 followers. Well done. Well deserved. Thank you so much. And big ups to every single one of you who have been part of this journey so far. If you are new, please do subscribe and get involved. We're live every single day at 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. UK time, obviously. Let's see what else we got. Somebody says, in Ten Hag we trust. I agree. Lumen says, Kieran, why Maguire with Varane and not Lindelof? Lindelof's sick, mate. Lindelof didn't travel, so there is no Lindelof today. He is not on the bus. He did not travel to the game. So Victor Lindelof is 100% out of this match. Obviously, Martinez is out of this match. So my best two centre-backs then is Harry Maguire and Rafael Varane. I would prefer Maguire to Johnny Evans, to be honest. So yeah, Maguire and Varane, I think that would be the best option. United We Stand says, Ten Hag is the fastest manager to 50 wins. He hasn't done it yet, mate. I think he's got to win one more, is it? But he should be, yeah. Red for Life says, drop Rashford and play Martial on the left. You know what? I would actually be up for it. I would actually be up for that. I would be up for giving Martial a chance on the left, because when he used to play on the left, he was actually quite good for us. He was. And he did come in as a left winger, remember, Martial. He never was a striker. He was a winger. So maybe that is an option. Whether or not Rashford will start today, I'm not sure. We'll talk about that in a minute. Lab says, will the success of any manager depend on the level of support they receive from the club? Bad news from them at United. Yes, I 100% agree. Somebody says, I feel a Højlund hat-trick today. I mean, if Højlund gets a hat-trick today, I'll be absolutely buzzing. I can't see it happening personally. He hasn't scored a goal yet in the Premier League. I like Højlund. I think he's good. But answer me this. Do you remember Højlund ever having a chance to score a goal? I don't. Actually, he did score one, didn't he? And it was disallowed. He literally doesn't get any chances. Nothing. The players just don't give it to him. Anthony doesn't know how to cross the ball. All he knows is how to cut inside and shoot. Rashford seems to shoot every time he gets the ball. Yeah, it's just a bit frustrating, isn't it? And the thing is, right, I'm not going to slag off Rasmus Højlund, because it's not like he misses two clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities every single game. He never gets any chances, ever. So, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? And I think it's something that Erik ten Hag needs to address. It's something that Erik ten Hag needs to sort out, because, you know, what's the point in bringing in a striker for £70 million, or whatever it was, 60, 70 million pounds, and then literally just not having anybody to give them any service? It's completely pointless, isn't it? But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that one. Obviously, Erik ten Hag did speak to the press last night, which was quite interesting. He, as you guys know, he does the day before. Usually they have a press conference in the afternoon, and then there's an embargoed section, which happens in the second half of the show. And yeah, so in his press conference, he was asked about the Marcus Rashford situation, and the exact words that he used were unacceptable. And he says that they are apparently having an internal investigation into this party that apparently Marcus Rashford went to after the Manchester derby defeat. Now, my reaction to it originally when this story first came out a couple of weeks, well, like last week, was that surely he would know, Erik ten Hag. Surely it would have been approved by the manager. But from what's being said here, it doesn't look like it is. Yeah, so it's a little bit strange, really. Like, I don't know how this has happened. Surely Manchester United knew that, you know, Erik ten Hag should be aware of this. Like, surely he should be aware that Marcus Rashford was going to a party, you know? So yeah, anyway, Erik ten Hag was also asked about the structure at Manchester United, and whether he thinks that, you know, over the last 10 years, we've had 5 different managers, and whether it's actually the structure of the club which is causing the issues. And he said the exact words. He says it's possible. So Erik ten Hag is finally starting to be a bit more honest about things. And I like this side of him. I do. I prefer it. He looks a bit more vulnerable, which is, I think, maybe letting his guard slip a bit. Before he had a bit of a kind of shield, didn't he? He'd say 1 or 2 word answers. He was very cold. He didn't really say much, but you can tell that he's under pressure because he's giving a lot more in-depth answers to all of the journalists' questions. And when he was asked this question about the structure, you know, they said Louis van Gaal, seasoned winner, Mourinho, seasoned winner. All of these people came in and ultimately failed. And the journalist said, is that because of the managers or is it because of the structure around the managers? And he said, yes, it's possible it's because of the structure, not because of the managers. And I thought that was very interesting because all of the mainstream media say it's Erik ten Hag's fault. He bought Anthony for 100 million, you know, sack him, blah, blah, blah. And I just think it's a little bit of a boring narrative, to be honest, because there are so many more problems at bay here at Manchester United that to just solely blame it on a manager, I think is a little bit wrong. I would probably say at this point it's maybe 20% Erik ten Hag's fault, 25% Erik ten Hag's fault. I would say 50% of it's the structure, 25% the players, 25% Erik ten Hag, something like that. There's lots of people to blame here, and I definitely don't think he's the main one to blame. And then he followed up his answer by saying, "I wouldn't work here if I thought the structure wasn't right." So he kind of tried to backpedal on what he said. But I think the fact that he hinted that it was possible that the structure was actually the issue kind of answered the question, didn't it? Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Yeah, Habby says Erik ten Hag used to talk in riddles. Yeah, he did. I'll be honest, right? I used to do press conference reactions where we'd, all sit here, we'd talk through his comments, but I just found them pointless. Like, he said literally next to nothing. He never said anything which gave us anything to talk about. But this press conference he did yesterday was probably the first one he's ever done because of what he said. Usually he says nothing. He just, as somebody said in the chat, he just talks in riddles. And I find it a little bit boring, to be honest. Lumen says Kieran is going to a party after a win acceptable, or because it was a derby humiliation, going to a party was unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, if they'd have won, maybe it would have been different, but losing 3-0, putting in a poor performance, and then going to a party at a nightclub until 3 a.m. I mean, is that acceptable for you? Let me know in the comment section. Do you think that's acceptable? You've just lost against Man City 3-0. You're in a poor run of form, put in an absolutely pathetic performance, let's be honest. The whole team against Man City were pathetic. That happens, and then that evening you go out to a nightclub. Yes, apparently it was his brother's birthday. Your brother can't change their birthday, can they? They're born on a certain day. So it is unfortunate that it did fall on that specific day. But I'd probably, if I was Rashford, if you wanted to not cause this situation, would have just messaged his brother and said, obviously really sorry. The game's just been, we've just got battered at home against Man City, against our local rivals. I don't think it's good if I come tonight. I need to stay at home. I think that would have been the mature thing to do, to be honest. Somebody says that he doesn't. Somebody says the players just don't care anymore. Craig says he was in training the next day, though. Yeah, I agree. When it first came out, I wasn't that bothered, I thought it was fine. I thought that Erik ten Hag must have approved it. But Erik ten Hag's exact words on this situation was that him going was unacceptable. So Erik ten Hag was clearly not happy about it, right? And he said that it's being investigated internally. There might be disciplinary actions, etc. So I don't know. For me, they're all human beings. They all have to live a life. But I think it's just, reading the room a little bit. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think, if it was a birthday, if it was a meal at his house or something, it probably would have been perceived differently. But when you think of a nightclub on a Sunday night, there till 3 a.m, like, how many of you, maybe some of you do, but how many of you go out clubbing on a Sunday night? Like, I don't know many people that do that, to be honest. And I know it's a one-off. I know it's not like he's out every night clubbing, but still, it's a bit of a strange day to do it, isn't it? They probably could have done it another time. But Irvin says, honestly, you can't run your personal life according to how the club perform on the pitch. It was a bad coincidence for Rashford. I would agree with that. I would. But surely they knew when they were planning it that it was the Manchester derby that day. Like, I don't know. I don't have a massive issue with it, to be honest, but I could understand why Erik ten Hag thought it was unacceptable. But as somebody said in the chat, if we'd have won that game 4-0, would people be saying it's unacceptable? No. So it's a little bit, I can't think of the word, but it's a little bit hypocritical to be like, it's completely unacceptable, we're going to discipline him. But I bet you any money if we'd have won the match, Erik ten Hag would have had no issue with it. Do you know what I mean? So I think it is one of those things that's just trying to cause a bit of a distraction, trying to defer some of the blame. Being like, let's talk about Rashford. Let's talk about him being unacceptable. Let's talk about him going to a nightclub. Bates says Rashford should have known better. Richie says, do you think Rashford will start today? I mean, that will be the biggest indicator for me, right? If Rashford doesn't start today, that will be the biggest indicator that Erik ten Hag is really not happy about this. He said last night that it's unacceptable that he went and that they were disciplining, they were looking into an internal investigation. If he doesn't start the match today, then we know that it's a big issue, don't we? If he starts, then I would just let it go. I would move on, and I would have no issue with it. But I trust Erik ten Hag. He's the manager. You have to trust the manager. Until that manager is sacked, I'm not going to turn on Erik ten Hag. I'm not. It won't happen. Even if we lose today, I'm not going to turn on him. If we lose against Copenhagen, I'm not going to turn on him because I know these bunch of players have thrown so many managers under the bus. These bunch of players have a weak mentality. 95% of them, maybe more, aren't good enough to wear that Manchester United shirt. So I'm not going to turn on Erik ten Hag because he's been here 18 months and so far he's not shown anything that shows that he doesn't want to make this a success at Manchester United. Whereas most of these players, they walk around the pitch, they sulk, they complain, they look like they're not bothered, they look like they're not interested. And I can't forgive that. Whereas Erik ten Hag, for me, he hasn't done anything yet to really, really annoy me. I think the Ronaldo situation was handled correctly. I think Sancho, by what we know so far, has been handled correctly. I think benching Maguire and taking the captaincy off him was the correct decision. He's trying to instill this discipline and this mentality that none of these players have had over the last 10 years. You know, we've got some players like Anthony Martial, Luke Shaw, who've been here since many, many years ago. I mean, when did we sign Luke Shaw? I'm not singling out Luke Shaw. I'm just saying he's got players from all different managers, doesn't he? And he's trying to deal with all these people who are comfortable at Manchester United. They've been here for God knows how long. I mean, yeah, Luke Shaw's been here since 2012. He's been here for 11 years, Luke Shaw. Is that right? No, 2014. So he's been here 9 years. Martial's been here 9 years. You know, there's a load of these players that have been here for, obviously, Rashford, McTominay, some of the youth players who've been here for like a very, very long time. And they know that if they throw the manager under the bus, it will be the manager that gets sacked and not them. And that's the cycle we need to break. So for me, I'm not going to turn on Erik ten Hag. I'm not going to turn on him before I turn on these players. I would rather see all of these players go. Erik ten Hag, I know this is never going to happen, but just to give you my kind of frame of mind at the moment, right? I would rather see all of those players go and start afresh than see Erik ten Hag go and another manager try and come in and make the best of these players, because we know they'll probably do well for 6 months and then next season it will be, oh, the training sessions are too hard. Oh, he's making us stay for half an hour later than the old manager used to do. Oh, sometimes he shouts at me and I don't like it. Like, they're all pathetic. They are. None of them have the mentality, the elite mentality to be the best in the world. There's a couple of exceptions in people like Casemiro and what's he called? Varane. But let's be honest, both of them are past their best. I like both of them. They're two of my favourite players. I would argue that they're probably the only players alongside Bruno Fernandes that you could even consider putting in the world-class category. But I definitely think, you know, both of them are 30, 31. Both of them seem to be injury-prone now. Like, they've come to Manchester United at the twilight of their career, realistically. Yes, they're good players. Yes, they've been world-class players throughout their career. But I genuinely don't think a single other player in that dressing room has the medal, the trophy cabinet to be able to think they're what they think they are. Does that make sense? Like, you know, you think of people like Rashford, you think of people like, even people like Bruno, like, what's Bruno's best trophy that he's won? Probably the Europa League. Has he even won that? I don't even know. Let's have a look. I like Bruno, by the way. I'm just saying, you know, these players throwing their toys out their pram. I mean, what's he won in his career? Let's have a look. So his best trophy that he's ever won is the Portuguese league. And he's 29. 29 years of age and his best trophy is the Portuguese league. Is that a world-class player for you? I don't think so. I think world-class players had won, you know, Champions Leagues. I mean, he hasn't even won the Europa League, has he? No, he hasn't. He's won no European trophies. He won the Nations League, which is, let's be honest, a bit of a joke, isn't it? The Portuguese, the National Nations League thing. And you get where I'm going here with this, right? None of these players have the medals to be able to act the way they are. Ronaldo, you could understand it. Casemiro, again, you could probably understand it. But as Daz says, it's all down to mentality. But let's move on to the story about Kobbie Mainoo. Now, this one's come as a massive surprise for me. It really, really has. And the headline is this morning that apparently Man City are trying to sign Kobbie Mainoo from Manchester United. It says Manchester United are relaxed about Man City's long-standing interest in Kobbie Mainoo. Apparently, they've been trying to sign him since he was 9 years old. And at every attempt so far, Kobbie Mainoo has rejected any approaches from Man City. It goes on to say that Kobbie Mainoo is very happy at Manchester United. He could make his first appearance of the season against Fulham. You know what, right? He has to start today for me. He does. These are the types of moments where I will judge Erik ten Hag, okay? We've got this player who, from what we've seen of him in the first team squad in pre-season, looks unbelievable. All of my friends who watch the youth team regularly say that he's one of the best players that have come through the youth in the last 10 years, right? The hype is there. Whether or not that hype will be turned into talent, we'll have to wait and see. But if you've got Man City knocking on the door for this player, who you know he'll go to Man City and turn into a very good player, you need to start playing him. You need to start building a team around him, okay? Amrabat, I'm not convinced about. Eriksen, legs are gone. Casemiro, injury prone now. McTominay, not good enough, needs to go. I mean, I've just gone through 4 of our 6 midfielders, and Donny van der Beek obviously needs to go. I mean, if you look for our midfield right now, right? Let's do this really, really quickly. Donny van der Beek should have gone in the summer. Scott McTominay should have gone in the summer. Eriksen, I think, is okay as a bench player, can play 40 minutes well. 90 minutes, he struggles. Amrabat, I think he's all right, but I wouldn't buy him. Casemiro, I think, is still world class, but is now injury prone. That's 5 players in our midfield that I think, all of which I honestly wouldn't really be bothered if all of them left at this point. I wouldn't. Now, let me just be very, very clear here. I like Casemiro out of all of them. I think he's good. McTominay, Donny, Eriksen, and Amrabat, I genuinely wouldn't be bothered if they all went. But Casemiro, I think, is good. If Saudi came in January with a big offer, I would probably take it, to be honest. If they came in the summer with a big offer, you know, if a big offer came in for Varane and Casemiro, let me know. Would you accept it? Let me know in the comment section. If, I don't know, Al Ittihad came in with a 50 million offer for Varane and a 60 million offer for Casemiro, let me know in the comments, would you accept it? I probably would at this point. I would. I think it's the right move for their career. I think that we need players who are young, who are hungry, who can play 2-3 times a week. Neither of them can do that. Irvin says Casemiro got injured by Harry Maguire 5 minutes into the Newcastle game. He's got a hamstring injury. That's going to be like a month out, you know? So if Kobbie Mainoo doesn't start today and we see Eriksen and God knows who, and Scott McTominay and Amrabat, it's not good, is it? Lumen says, Kieran, if Erik ten Hag doesn't start or give game time to Mainoo for no reason, then you should start thinking Erik ten Hag out. I think Kobbie Mainoo will start today. I do. I think he will. I think Erik ten Hag is going to rely on those younger players who want to prove a point. I would imagine it's going to be Kobbie Mainoo and Sofian Amrabat. That would be my prediction. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section about Kobbie Mainoo. Would you build the team around him, or do you think we should be focusing on people like Eriksen, people like Amrabat, Casemiro? I mean, all of them are getting close. Well, some of them are past 30. Eriksen and Casemiro are 30 plus. Casemiro is 31. Eriksen's also 31, I believe. You know, we shouldn't be focusing on these types of players. You know, we need to start building for the future. We really, really do. Everyone who's just joined in the last couple of minutes, please do smash a like on the video. And please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to read out a couple of your comments. By the way, I don't think I'm going to be doing a watch-along today. Obviously, I will be live as soon as the game finishes. I'm just not going to be doing a watch-along today, I don't think. I hope everyone is okay with that. But I will be live, obviously, as soon as the game finishes, I'll be live and we can have our match reaction. Let's have a look. Nick says, yes, I would sell Varane and Casemiro as long as the money is reinvested in the squad and not in the pockets of the Glazers. I would agree with that. Simon says, Mainoo is the future. Build the team around him. I agree. The Unlimited says, I would play Amrabat, Mainoo and Hannibal. Yeah, I would agree. Colin says he needs time to get back to fitness, must come on after 60 minutes. He has played quite a few matches though, Colin. He played a couple of under-21s matches the other day. I think he got 3 assists in one game the other day. So I think he is ready to start. Whether or not he can play a full 90 minutes, I don't know. But yeah. Let's see. Lab says there's a lot of pressure to put on a young player. He needs strength around him. I would agree. I would agree with that. What else have we got? Somebody says Rafael Varane and Casemiro are world class, but they have passed their best. I love Bruno Fernandes, but he is not world class. There you go then. So we don't have any world class players, really, do we? I think we maybe have 1 or 2, and that's being generous. You know, that would maybe be Bruno, maybe Casemiro, maybe Varane. And it's maybes. It's 50-50. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I'm going to go and chill out for a bit. And then obviously we've got the game at 12:30. I will go live as soon as the game finishes with a match reaction and all the rest of it. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please do subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a little bit later.